Joining me now is Dan Price. He's the founder and CEO of Gravity Payments, and he has done something fascinating and fantastic. He set minimum wages at his company at $70,000 a year. Now, he had done that earlier with a company that he owns in Seattle. He just did it with a company in Idaho, where that is a monster number. So I'm fascinated by the fallout from it and honestly the business part of it as well. So Dan, welcome to the Young Turks.
Thanks, Cenk. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start at the beginning. Where did you even get the idea to do this, and why $70,000?
Yeah, so I was on a hike with a friend of mine. Her name's Valerie, and she had just had a huge, what for her was a huge rent increase. Her rent was increased by $200 a month. And, I was young and wealthy and doing well. I grew up in Idaho in a conservative Christian family home, but I was making $1 million a year. I'd built my own business. And seeing how it was like for her to actually absorb a $200 rent increase and how it was completely disruptive of her life, it taught me about a blind spot that I had. And I had read a little bit about Angus Deaton and Daniel Kahneman, how they had done the study for Princeton about how money makes your life better up until a certain point, after which it does not. And I was clearly way above that point, but the people that were working with me were quite a bit below it. And so, that kind of clued in to me that money would be more valuable in the hands of other people than it would be, me being very wealthy, getting even more wealthy. That wouldn't really do anybody, myself included, any good.
I thought that $70,000 number sounded familiar. Yeah, it's from that study.
I got it wrong though, so I misremembered it. It was actually 75,000.
That's so funny. I was thinking, wasn't it 75? Right?
Yeah. And then there's a CBS show called The Good Wife. I think it got canceled, but Miss America Vanessa Williams played me on that show one season, and she got the right number. She did 75,000 for her workers, so they I guess got it right.
Okay, and so, well, before we get to the other people's reactions, so you were making $1.1 million. You brought yourself down to $70,000.
Yes.
Now, I assume that since you own the company, that you've got equity and stock and stuff, and so you're okay otherwise. But did that make a big difference in your life?
I had saved up a little bit, but with all the fallout that you mentioned that we could get into a little bit, and also just all the kind of growth that we were absorbing, I had put some money aside that I temporarily had to put most of that money back into the company. The company has subsequently really thrived, and we've had some great results, so that money has come back to me now. And so I have a little bit of savings from earlier in my career, but it made a change in my lifestyle. I had a full-time house personal assistant, and she was going back to medical school. So I didn't lay her off or fire her. That would have been horrible, but I didn't replace her either. And so, I went back to doing all my own chores and, kind of living a normal life. But I mean, it was good. It was fun. It was so worth it. My life maybe got a 0.5% worse, taking away the impact of all the people around me, but all their lives got better. And when you think about the positivity, the camaraderie, the way of collaborating that as a founder of a company, is so important. With all of those things, being enhanced so much, my life got way better, and the things that I sacrificed were worth it.
So, are there any days where you regret it?
I mean, there are days where I get tired, and there are days where I think, wow, being so vocal about it was tough, or, it's a challenging circumstance. I wouldn't say there are any days where I out and out regret it, but there are days that I understand more about the costs that are involved. Well, let me give you a concrete example. Prior to 70K, we had between 0 and 2 babies born per year at Gravity. Since 70K, it's been only 4 years, we're at 35 babies being born at the company. So there's so many facts like that that have come out about how life changes once you have a more equal sense of pay and resources, that it would be completely impossible for me to ever regret it.
Wow, I did not see that coming as a consequence.
It was amazing. The other thing that happened was we went from 0 first-time homeowners to like a half a dozen first-time homeowners every year. A lot of the blowback that people said everyone would squander the money and be stupid, but we actually found that a third of the company got almost completely out of debt, 2/3 paid down debt, and our voluntary savings rate through our company 401k program tripled. So, it was life-changing for all of us. And I think one of the things that we hopefully are learning together as a society is what strengthens one of us strengthens all of us. And that approach is kind of the way forward. And so in spite of the fact that, yeah, maybe I am not as wealthy as I otherwise would be, my humanity, my vitality, the things that are really important to me in life are so much better. And again, purely speaking from a selfish standpoint in terms of how much I enjoy my life, how happy I am, how stressed I am, how much I smile. I mean, my life is so much better because of something like this.
Dan, it's just an amazing story, man. Look, it's sight unseen on anything else that Gravity Payments does. Everybody go use Gravity Payments. Okay, so, but now let's talk about the downsides. So one that could be expected was if you have other shareholders, them going, whoa, what are you doing paying employees more? Now in your case, it was your brother. So what happened there?
So I got sued. The technical term that was used was basically minority shareholder oppression, but essentially it was like you didn't fully consult and this is unusual and this isn't the way business is being done. And there were various legal arguments being put forward of is it actually illegal to do something that's not purely in the shareholder's interest? And, the legal theory of that, there just weren't facts there to try it because, it was so early and we were experiencing some business benefit from it. And so it was hard to say that it was purely bad, but those were some of the legal theories. And I did have some sleepless nights wondering, if it would found to be illegal, what that would mean for me. And I actually, did face the reality that if I lost that lawsuit, then I would lose control of the company probably forever.
Did you say minority shareholder oppression?
Yeah, that's the technical term. It's basically the term of just because you're a controlling shareholder of a company, you can't do something that's good for you and bad for everybody else.
Right. Now, the one thing that really helps your cause there is that it wasn't necessarily good for you. So obviously it wasn't just done for greed or anything like that, quite the opposite. I was just amused by the name. I understand that it's a coincidence and it's just a legal term of art, et cetera. But you're paying your employees more, well, then the shareholders are being oppressed.
Right.
And it is kind of symbolic of how a lot of the business community treats the thought of paying employees better. So are you and your brother okay now or no?
On a personal level, we still got some work to do. On a business level, after the lawsuit was dismissed and all that got sorted out, he kind of wanted an exit. And so we were able to provide an exit. He was nice to, let me pay him overtime and all those sorts of things. So from a business standpoint, I would say we're okay. From a personal standpoint, we got a little bit of ways to go.
Got you. And it's funny, the minute you turn the equation around and you're decent to other human beings, people charge you with being selfish because it makes you feel good. Then why don't more people do it? Right?
It's really nice, and I think it's a really important thing that we need to figure out as a path forward because, we have really incredible resources right now, but they're being trapped in the hands of just so few people. And one of the things that really didn't work out from the whole 70K thing, in spite of the fact it was great for our business, it was great for all the employees, it was great for me selfishly. But, in those 4 years, income inequality, is probably, you can almost add an extra 0 to how much worse it got in that time. And, growing up as a conservative Christian in a family where my dad, always wanted to be in business, wanted me as this kid to be in business. I always thought business and free markets were the solution. But unfortunately, I went out, I've been promoting this. I've been speaking to literally thousands and thousands of CEOs every single year. And a lot of them have adopted it. And the ones that have, it's worked great and their companies have prospered. But the fact is, most of them have not adopted it. And so, while it's been great for us, it really hasn't done a whole lot for somebody that works at a company that doesn't think this way.
Okay, but the one that really threw me for a loop was some of your employees in Seattle were mad at you. Why?
Yeah, so my best understanding of it, we had a couple long conversations. I'm still in touch with all of them. A couple left, and there was a thought of like, basically, wait, I wasn't given this starting pay. I had to work my way up from $25,000 to now I'm finally at 80, and now you're going to take everybody up to 70, and yeah, maybe you're going to bump me to like 83 or 84, but you're taking them from 30 or 35 to 70. That's not really fair. And I could understand that because, that's kind of the way the system has been structured. That's the way it's been set up. But it was kind of one of those things where we were choosing to lean into everybody having their needs met and having enough to be able to live their lives, and not necessarily trying to like make sure that, for every dollar that this person got that really needed it, this person that didn't need the money was also going to get $3 or $5 or $10. And I think that's a big trend right now where, you see the people on top, the billionaires and the millionaires are actually some of the people that complain the most about how hard life is, how they're being unfairly treated. And, I believe that the system doesn't serve them because the same way it didn't serve me. But, the answer is for those of us who have more power and more privilege to be willing to give some of it up for the greater good, because we benefit from that structural, societal change that makes all of our lives better.
Yeah, it is of course disappointing to see folks complain about others getting the minimum, but unfortunately not surprising. All right, last thing, because it's important, your company in Idaho, you bought another one, and you also did it in Idaho where the standard of living is even lower in terms of prices. So that's a huge boon to them. Some of them are call centers that you could normally outsource at like $2 an hour, and you're paying them $70,000. So one, it took you longer to do it there. Why? And then two, can you still remain profitable when you're paying your employees so much more than the industry average?
So there's a little more to the story. So we implemented our 70K minimum wage in 2015, and then it was so successful that a year or two later, we bought a company in Idaho that had, call it maybe 45 employees. And of the 45, over half of the employees were making under $30,000 a year. And, the owner was kind of he was a baby boomer who believed in controlling things very tightly and controlling expenses. And look, the guy's got a great heart. He's a wonderful person, but it was really hard for him to give raises because he had that kind of depression era type mentality. I mean, he's not that old, but whether he got it from his parents or grandparents or whatnot, you get the idea. Mm-hmm. And so we bought this company, and immediately after buying it, we changed the minimum wage from about $24,000 where it was to $40,000 instantly. And now we're scaling up. We changed it to 50. Now we're scaling up 5,000 a year for the next 4 years to get to 70. So it was basically a matter of, okay, we're buying this company. The people that work at the company are really excited to join the team. Honestly, their expectations were very modest. They were very nice to us. They weren't demanding, and they understood that, we wanted to get them there. And so it was not only successful enough to do that, but I'm actually sitting here at our brand new office. It's like A-class office space, like in Boise, Idaho. And, if anybody wants to, as Rush Limbaugh and Fox News said, say that our employees are going to be on the breadlines because this is such a horrible program, I want them to come out here in Idaho and look at the people, look at the office, and see how we're out competing, out succeeding, and think about how if we start to put systemic solutions in place through our political processes and pass laws that will allow us to be more equal, we will all thrive, we'll all succeed as a society. And despite what a lot of people are saying, we're not going to be in a situation where we can't compete with other countries. We're going to be stronger because we're going to be more together, and we're all going to be on the same team.
Dan, I love what you're saying. Just caution you, don't invite any Fox News people to your place. It's a bad idea.
I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh from 10 to 1 every day. I love Republicans. I love conservatives. I want to bring us all into the fold and figure out a way that we can see the benefit of this together. Because, the things that we're doing, the value we're adding as a company to each other's lives, it benefits Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals, progressives, whatever labels we want to put, it benefits everybody. And if we want to try to reunify and persuade people to all be in this together, I think we need to find a way to have a benefit for each other. And I think this is an example. Of course, it's small, I get that, but I hope that it's proof that the bigger one will work.
All right, Dan. In fact, I'm working on a book, and that's the last chapter, what you just said right there. So, Dan, you're amazing. The company in Idaho is called Charge It Pro.
So it's now just Gravity Payments. And just for your audience, so any small business, the original thing of Gravity and Charge It Pro was if you have a small business and you're paying too much on your payment processing, if you're being unfairly treated, we're in it for the little gal or guy. But then our new business now is working with software companies to develop cloud software solutions to allow small businesses to compete with Amazon and Starbucks and all those. So any kind of software startup that's targeted to a small business, we work with them and make sure to get that solution in the hands of small business owners. Because our idea is that the bigger and more powerful, the less likely to be interested in justice, and the smaller and more independent, just the better, the more fun it's going to be for all of us.
All right, gravitypayments.com. Dan Price, American hero. Thank you, brother.
Thanks.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.